lightning all around me. And when it just hit all at once.
In a matter of seconds, dark skies felt deadly.
Some of the trees were just almost leaning sideways.
Catching us off guard. And knocking us off our feet. Photographer Bob Thomas hid from the high winds and water behind our station car. We had no idea at the time, but we were in the heart of it.
We have a lot of those that nothing ever happens, but this one hit hard, it hit fast, and so all you do is watch it and hunker down.
Hiding in Busma's Towing in Bevington, we met a man who just moved here from sunny Southern California.
When you can't see a foot in front of you, it's time to pull over.
He was on his way to Winterset to pick his kids up from soccer camp.
I went to the bathroom to cry because I didn't want you all to see me crying. I was so scared.
Oh my God.
Certainly shaken, but still holding on to his Iowa faith.
People have teased me for what am I doing coming here? You know, it's so different, but I love it here.
This is absolutely terrifying.
Turns out it was the mayor of this small town who gave us shelter.
This is probably one of the strongest ones I've seen, even by Iowa standards.
Hi, Steve and Stacy. Well, we're moving back right now because I don't know if you can hear it on this, but we have an active gas leak right now. The sheriff's office is telling us we're going to have to stage over at Bondurant High School for a news conference, but there is an active gas leak right now, so they're having us move back. You can see, if John pans over, you can see a lot of emergency crews staging here on the scene. Really a somewhat chaotic situation as they're trying to get everything in place. As we have an active gas leak right now. Again, we're going to walk back to our news car here as we go to the high school, but we'll show you some of the damage once again. This is, of course, seemingly where this tornado blew through. It is we're walking over lots of wood right now, trying to not trip over some of this stuff. You can smell a little bit of that gas in the air right now. We didn't hear that same, forgive me if this fire truck is going over my mic right now, but you could hear some of the, we couldn't hear rather, some of that gas over at that other house that supposedly had a gas leak, but I think they're still possibly just checking there to see what's going on there.
As you move over here, you can see one of the storefronts totally devastated, broken glass, shattered all around. And this is just what we keep seeing here on the main street in Marshalltown. People have been coming out of their places of work, checking out their vehicles, many of which have been damaged that were left on the street. As you can see, this Jeep here has its back windows blown out. We don't know yet what is going on with the Marshalltown Hospital, but that's what we need to check in on next. So we will keep giving you live updates from here, but as we keep understanding more and more about the devastation, it's hard to take in. Any questions back in the studio?
Lauren, we can see that you're on that block just east of the courthouse there. There is the courthouse, which has sustained heavy damage. That courthouse built 1886. Wondering how far the damage goes that you can see. I'm just kind of curious how long maybe that tornado was on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we did.
There is, Steve, absolutely nothing that I can see that has not been hit right now. And it's terrifying to see this and to see the reaction on everybody's faces here, many of which who have lived through this. And I know Curtis was saying earlier, nobody was expecting this. And there's not one single block that has not been hit with rubble, shattered glass, or buildings that have been destroyed. They're telling us now that we need to move away from the buildings because they're afraid they're going to come down, Stacy. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's quite all right. We want you to keep us updated and stay safe at the same time.
KCCI 8 News starts right now with breaking news.
Missing nearly 5 weeks. Today, the apparent answer no one wanted to hear. The body of Molly Tibbetts may have been found. Good afternoon. Here's what we know right now. State investigators say a body was found in rural Poweshiek County earlier today. They are working to positively confirm the identity, and they've called a 4 o'clock news conference in reference to the disappearance of Molly Tibbetts. KCCI has seen DCI and police activity in an area 10 miles south of Brooklyn on Highway 21. KCCI is Tommy Clark was the first reporter there this morning. Tommy, what is the timeline? What has been happening?
Well, Rhea, we got here a few hours ago. Like you said, we were the only crew on scene here. And when you look behind me here, a much different scene now. You can see that this highway is lined with news cars from around the country. And they're all here after we heard from this morning from several farmers who said they saw this roadway blocked off around 5 a.m. is when they saw the road closure sign go up. So we came this way and we arrived. Nothing was here but the sign, and now you can see the activity going on. Now, again, we do not have confirmed that this is the location, but like you said, we have seen DCI agents go through this area. In about 30 minutes after we arrived earlier this morning, around 10 a.m., we saw a medical examiner go down this way. We've been seeing people walking around the area as well. Now, this has been a massive investigation, and you can see behind me here comes the state medical examiner coming out of this roadway as we speak. They are the vehicle that we saw earlier this morning, about a couple hours ago, come down this gravel roadway. You can see them exiting now, getting into the traffic here. And this has really been the extent of the activity. The medical examiner and seeing several officers go down this roadway. Now, you know that this has really been, for several weeks now, a fruitless search, and the investigation has been massive. And Todd Magel's joining us now. And Todd, you really have been following, the latest on what's going to happen. We will learn more information tonight, right?
Right. That's the big news, is that the DCI, the Criminal Investigation Unit for the state of Iowa, has indicated there will be a 4 o'clock news conference, and they have promised us what they are calling significant information in the case of Molly Tibbetts. As you know, she's been missing for the past month now, and Crime Stoppers has a reward close to $400,000, and we're hearing from Crime Stoppers today that they believe that a tip based on that reward perhaps led the DCI and Poweshiek County authorities here to what we believe is a rural scene, perhaps in a farm just off a gravel road here. Again, we're just south of I-80 near Guernsey here in Poweshiek County. That news conference will be at 4 o'clock in Montezuma, which is where the Sheriff's Office is, and that's where they have had past news conferences during this investigation. As we mentioned, the reward is about $400,000. There's word now that, and of course we don't know the answer to this, but perhaps that reward now will be given to somebody who might know what happened in this case, and perhaps if there is a suspect in mind or a suspect out there, that this reward money might help in that case. But we just don't know what happened. We don't know officially if this is Molly Tibbetts. I did text her father, Rob, in San Francisco this morning. There are reports that he did earlier today confirm that it is Molly Tibbetts, but when I texted him, he was not able to confirm that at this point. So still a lot of questions about what's happening here on the scene. And of course, we'll be back here live with the news conference at 4 o'clock and more reaction from the town of Brooklyn, which is just about 12 miles north of where we are. So for Tommy Clark, I'm Todd Magel. We're live in Poweshiek County, and we'll throw it back to you.
Well, Todd, I have a question, because this is not, unfortunately, the first case that you've worked on or reported on like this. So what are they doing right now before this presser at 4 p.m. that you mentioned? What are investigators doing? What are they preparing for before this presser?
Well, my guess is that in these cases, there are so many relatives and other people that are involved in this. They want to make sure, if in fact there is a body and it is Molly, they want to make sure all those people are officially notified. They were just here this morning, shortly before 8, when this news broke. So it really hasn't been that long that this has happened here. So they want to make sure that's all covered. The relatives know before an announcement is made officially about that, which may happen tonight. And of course, they're not, I don't think, officially sure that this is her. So they need to make sure, with all the details that they have in this case, that it's her. If there is a body, it's been out there for a month, we don't know what kind of shape it's in. And so there's so many questions and so many things they want to make sure are right before, this news conference was going to be at 5 o'clock tonight, but that ended up being too late, and so they moved it back to 4. to accommodate some media requests here. So I think they just want to have as much time as they can to make sure they know what's happening here, and then of course they can tell us and the rest of the world, because let's face it, a lot of people across the country want to know what happened to Molly Tibbetts, and I think today, with any luck, we will find out.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to touch base with you and ask about the text messages that you spoke to her father. You've spoken to her father several times, and you said you texted him earlier today. Was there any indication or any reaction that you received from him via text message today?
Nothing this morning. You know, I texted him early this morning. I think he had just found out. He really wasn't in any shape to talk about it. He, again, could not confirm that it was his daughter. You know, he's in San Francisco. He was here for about a month. This is Rob Tibbetts, and he lives there. And he had been here searching. He was at the State Fair. He talked to us on KCCI on several occasions. Very, you know, obviously a very horrible situation for him, but he wanted to make sure to get the word out. And he was at the State Fair, and he was in town here and talking to media, national news media, local news media. But I think at this point, I'm guessing he does know, but not ready to really go out on a limb and say. And I think he wants to wait for law enforcement to do that sometime later today. So my guess is he'll be coming back here because his ex-wife is here, Molly's mother, and of course her brother and boyfriend are here as well. So more to come probably from him here as this investigation continues.
Absolutely. Thank you so much from the both of you.
The 63rd flood wall that is up, and we have 2 crews down there right now. You're taking a live look at 63rd, and again, these guys are going to be working well into the morning here, just trying to make sure that these flood walls are doing what they can. Oh my goodness, and here's a couple of cars, and you have to wonder what exactly what they're doing. It doesn't look as if they're going to get anywhere there. But hopefully they turn around here soon, because that is obviously not a good idea. And you can see that other car moving there. There is moving water down there, and these cars just seem to not be getting the message that they cannot get through there, and there is quite a bit of water built up. So hopefully they're going to turn around now and salvage their vehicles there. Hannah, what's the latest?
It is still a very active scene out here at 50th and Twana in Des Moines, where we know one person has been swept away by this floodwater. Now look at this. You can see where the water came in and took these people by surprise. And then over here is the van that they were either in or by, and it swept 3 people away, 2 of which have been rescued. 1 is still missing, and that's why we have such a large presence of fire and Des Moines police here. They're kind of regrouping, getting water, and getting ready to continue this search for the 1 person that is missing right now.
Well, we actually have a police officer coming up right here, but if you look behind me, there's actually a car stuck out there. Not even 2 minutes ago, 2 cars tried to fly through the water, and they obviously noticed once they got into the water that it was severely flooded and the floodgates were down. As you can still see, there is still 1 car out there stuck. We haven't seen any signs for help or anything yet, and no one's actually left their car yet.
Max, I think this is more than a fire. It sounds like it is a house explosion. We're at 6501 Urbandale Avenue. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to have Bailey zoom in down the block here. We are on Urbandale, but you can't really see too much from here. But I think if she zooms in, you can see that there appears to be a duplex that exploded in the last, I would say, 45 minutes or a half an hour. The walls are collapsed in this house. We just talked to police. They don't know if there's anybody inside, but there is an enormous amount of smoke and flames just about a block from where we are.
You can see the crews there getting these people that they're rescuing right now. It appears they're helping them off their car as we speak, bringing them to safety. They've been sitting there, I don't know, how long would you say? Maybe?
Oh, they've been there at least 20 minutes now.
20 minutes or so after we saw them drive in the water. So they're getting to safety now. Good news for everybody involved.
Another bucket of paint.
The paint was flowing at Drake University with trays, gloves, and roller brushes. Students were prepared to address recent acts of racism on campus.
What is the most public, biggest place on campus where we can make a big statement? We said, let's do it on Painted Street.
So Friday, hundreds met at Painted Street to hear messages.
Look at everybody here. This is really beautiful.
And to send a message.
Begin painting the street. They used the dark color to symbolize unity.
And now that it's going to be black and tilt drake relays, honestly, it's a huge deal.
They worked fast.
And the messy paintbrushes prove it. In a matter of mere minutes, they had the entire street painted black.
We sent up our Sky 8 to capture the moment. Sped up, you can see just how quickly they got it done. What was supposed to take 3 hours took less than 15 minutes to cover up those bright, colorful squares.
As a minority student here on campus, it makes me feel as though I'm supported. It makes me feel as though I actually matter on this campus.
A lot of times we're looking for the support, we don't know where it's at, and to see people from all these 50 squares and these organizations come out and say, we're here with you, we want to paint with you, and we're doing this because we want to stand in solidarity with you, is definitely, it feels so good to see that.
And for students of color like freshman Timothy Gant, they hope the discussion doesn't stop with the stroke of a brush.
This idea started with the conversation. Please keep talking, keep talking.
This is the beginning. We need to work harder to do more. We need to do better.
Every Coke contains a jolt. Some say it's the caffeine.
I'll probably say you go through 4 or 5 cans a week.
Everyone in Rockwell City swears the energy is really in the flick
They're tiny.
of your wrist.
I've actually started drinking more pop just to get those pop tabs.
For the last decade, Calhoun County dentists preaching the evils of sugary drinks haven't had a chance.
Yeah.
Because of one teenager on a mission.
They said they'd have a few more drinks.
J.C. McAlexander is that 17-year-old with a cat on his lap.
This is Lucky, and she's been with me through all my treatments.
His first love since 2nd grade.
Yeah, she's pretty old now.
When he was diagnosed with Ewing's sarcoma, cancer.
I think she knows when I have a bad day, and on those bad days she tries to help me through them.
And J.C. has had plenty, spending so many nights at the Ronald McDonald House in Des Moines, they literally gave him his own suite. But they also gave his parents a shoulder to cry on.
I had somebody that I could talk to about what our challenges were, about what our fears were.
We can't put a price on what they've done for us.
But once J.C. beat cancer, that 8-year-old wanted to try, rallying his community behind a currency even his classmates who had shaved their heads could latch onto.
We had different places around Rockwell City where people could like donate pop tabs like around banks.
This was his way of giving back.
The aluminum from every pop deposit rolling into the bank
I think there's a few beer tabs in there too, maybe.
would be recycled for cash, funding that home where JC's childhood artwork still hangs. Pop tabs are tiny.
That probably takes us a good couple months to fill a house.
But JC's goal was massive.
A ton of tabs.
Yes, a literal ton.
When you start doing the math, it's kind of crazy.
Through middle school, little baggies became big boxes.
That's literally so many pop tabs.
Until JC called with the news. It took him 9 years, but he was sure he had his ton.
Yeah, because the garage has been filling up.
And he wanted to say thanks from his bed in hospice.
It just helps you know that people are on my side, and it helps to keep me going.
17 hours after he talked with us, this 17-year-old died. JC was weak, but he was determined to make sure every person who ever popped a tab knew it mattered.
It always felt like they were rooting for me behind the scenes there.
Looking back now, I think he knew that he was close to the end, but he used that whatever energy he had to talk to you. And then he didn't really talk much after that.
And I cried and held him and told him I loved him.
And that was it.
Until just 2 days later, when Lucky died of cancer, too.
Yeah.
And we've been saying goodbye for 7 or 8 weeks now, and it's hard.
A month before he died, the high school junior finished his Eagle Scout project on Main Street. But he didn't get the time cash in on the aluminum stockpile from his garage.
For us, it's just carrying on a friend's legacy.
So those same buddies who'd shaved their heads as second graders,
What he wanted is finally getting done. It's a great thing.
lugged boxes so heavy
Oh,
they split.
bottom broke on me. JC would be getting after me right now about this.
Making sure every last tab counted.
If somebody took the time to pull one of these off, we want to make sure that they get here.
The recycling center's scales show JC's jackpot weighed 3,520 pounds.
Okay.
Almost doubling his ton.
I've just never seen this many pop tabs at one time.
Is this the end?
But ask JC's parents,
Last one, guys.
and they'll tell you 4.5 million tabs illustrates the potential in all of us.
If a 17-year-old kid could do this, then everyone can do something for someone.